Hello and welcome back to Raymies garage, fixing the wheel bearing. We're nearly there. I do apologise, this is our third video on this, but just not had a lot of time recently, and some of the stuff we wanted to do and film just took a wee bit more than longer. So just to give you a wee story where we're at now, I've got the drive shaft ready. As I mentioned in the previous video, we were tapping on this end. If I was doing that again, I would put the nut on, then tap so I can pull it off, or put a die on there. So what we've done was we got a nut die, which is an M24x2, and we just run that up and down. It takes a wee bit of effort. It's a big die nut. They're not that expensive. Rather than paying 20 quid for that, rather than a couple of hundred for this, just to save that end. So we'll just run that die nut down there, like so. Still a wee bit tight, but there's the new nut, and that goes on great. So we'll be able to screw that on. Certainly cleaned up all the threads and that, so that was good. So that's where we are with that. The boot's on. I'm just going to give these a wee clean up, just to make sure we're all okay. In fact, I might just have a wee look at the hub going into that. So that basically slides in like so, or so it says. It's supposed to slide in. That's interesting. Let's just see if that slides into the old hub. Yeah, that's pretty tight. I think that's one of the reasons why that was off. But sometimes you've got a spline here, and sometimes you've got a master spline, but I can't really see one on this, or that one, because it's like a spline sometimes would be missing. You would have to line the whole shaft up with that, but I don't see that. Let me see if I can get it in this way. I probably need to really get a wee clean. I'll put it in at the right angle. That would help. Let's try the new one. I don't see any master spline in that either. There I do, but I think we'll give that a wee clean up. A wee tap with a hammer on that just to see. That's not very good, so. Right, I think I'll stick that in here. I'll just move my camera in a second to the wee vise. Let's have a wee closer look at that in case we've damaged that. I don't think so. It looks pretty okay. I'm using a magnifying glass because I can hardly see it. It's not the best light in here. So I feel that going on. I can always pull this back off. It is a tight fit. So it is. So we just a wee rag on that or something, but I'll give them a wee clean up, and we'll get that. That should literally slide in there. I feel it going down. It is going down into the shaft. Yeah, so it's alright. I think I'll be okay, as long as I can get it off. Yeah, so I think we'll get a wee bit of copper grease on that. Got a wee bit in here just to make that, make that a wee bit more loose. But it's definitely tight. It's definitely tight here. So I'll have a wee look round, see if there's any marks on that. And it's stopping that from getting in with my magnifying glass. There's nothing really obviously wrong with that, I can't see a thing. So anyway, it should fit, it's fairly okay. Probably once it's in the car and we push it into the hub, it should be all right. Again, a wee bit of lubrication in the centre of that. So that's where we are. Next step is to get the hub bearing pressed in, and I'll go and try and see if I can do that now. I'm going to try and press it in myself. If I can't do that, I'll take it to somewhere I can press it in. But once that's done, pressed in, we will rebuild it on the car, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that the noise has went away. Then again, I'm not 100% sure of that. So that's that for now, and I'll back to you just in a second once I get my other tool set up, see if we can actually do it. It's not here yet, the tool, but we'll see if we can actually do it with this tool. Feeling that we'll go somewhere else and get it pressed on. Right, cool. So this is the pressing tool I've got, probably a Chinese mate, but anyway. There's the old bearing race, that I think it's about 90 centimetres, I can't remember. Does it say on it? No. Yeah, 91 says it in there. So that is just ever so slightly less than that. Get the ring out, place it on there. So it does fit by a couple of mil. So that should be enough to press it in. We've obviously got this bit as well, which will sit on there, like so. And we'll press that in. So let me get this set up with the hub, and we'll see if we can use the big screw, and we'll see if we can press that in. So this is the bearing, and this outer face has got the magnetic ring on it for the speed sensor. So when you're putting that in, you need to make sure that that magnetic ring goes in first, like so, so that the speed sensor can do that. The last thing you want to do basically is put it in the wrong way and have to push it back out and faff about with it. So I'll probably just sit it in position. I've got a wee dead blow hammer just to try and start that, and it is going in there, so don't want to damage that. Then I'll get it set up in the wee vise and we'll get the pulling tools ready. So here's what we've got set up. An interesting tool list for the price. We've got a disc here holding, we've got a ratchet. I don't think I've got a powerful enough air gun or a ratchet gun to actually turn that. It's quite tight. I've tightened up a couple of wee bits there, but just needed to make sure that that was sitting centre, which I did. And on the other side, we need to make sure that that disc is sitting centre. And I've got I think it's a 32 ring spanner on that, and I've got a 32 socket on this. And just for my own peace of mind, I'm just measuring. Well, I'll need to slacken that first, if I can do it with one hand. Well, I will be just taking a wee measurement just to see if the bearing's actually going to go in, which I think it is. I've moved it probably a couple of mil, and I did spend a wee bit of time with this tool just making sure before I started. I went round the four kind of edges up, if you like, just to make sure that the bearing was square, although I think it'll pull it in square anyway. And I just give it a couple of wee taps with my wee dead blow hammer. Now I've now questioned myself, have I got that in the right way? I think I have, but I'm going to double check anyway, because I've just put a bit of doubt in my mind. So I just slackened it there, and that's something lost. don't even know what that was. Yes, it's in the correct way, so we've not got the magnetic ring on that side of the bearing. And it's on the other side. I wonder if I can just have another wee look around this side to see. You probably can't see that, but yes, I can see the magnetic ring on the bearing that I told you. Yeah, it's there. So, happy with that. I shall reset it and start again to see if it's pulling it in. I'm going to end up hitting my hand off that. It's not too tight, to be fair. My vice is not holding it right. Right, let me just check that. Yeah, so it's drew it in about 5mm at that side. I think I'll just quickly fix this so I can get a bit more purchase on it. Right, so the pressing in of the bearing with that tool didn't really work, so we brought it back to the bigger press, so we've got a better picture of that. Got it set up, and it's just a matter of see if we can push that in. So it'll be quite tight, I think. Possibly the worst press of it. So I think it is going in. Down. So I think it's down, and the pressure on our gauge is not moving, so when I was pressing that in, the pressure was dropping every time. So I think that's that. We'll get it off and have a look. Right, so we've got it back upside down. Put a wee torch on it so we can see the bearing's bottomed out there. Just try to get a light on that, just fine. And it's bottomed out enough on the other side to get that split ring in it. Yeah, so there is enough space to put the split ring in. So that's okay, it's all fine. I'll get the split ring in now and stick that on. Come off it. That looks okay, give that a wee tap. There we go, clicked. And that's what split pin in there. So that's the clip in, or spring clip into position. All we need to do now is put the hub on. And I just want to protect the other side of the bearing, and that's the press we used. It's basically a bench press, not the best. It's got one of these hand pumps on it, but done the job. Right, so this is the setup we've got. We've got a plate in the back there just to hold the bearing. and I've got the actual hub sitting reasonably square. I'm just going to try and screw that in. It shouldn't take that much force to do that. So let's see if we can do that. So that's the bearing and the hub in. That went fully tight on me there. And it's nice and smooth, no movement. It's all okay in there. And round the back it's fully seated, no issues with that. So that's what I had to do, guys. I had to bring it in to a wee workshop to get the bearing pressed in. I don't think you could do it without that. I genuinely don't. And for these small presses, I mean, it's only a 10-ton bench press, you could probably make one yourself, which I'm actually thinking of doing. Interesting to see that bent there, isn't it? These are not a great idea, the hand pumps. I prefer the one with the what do you call it, the jack on it. You can put it up and down. But anyway, that wee tool set came in handy. I'll just put that away. I'll get my stuff away. Again, Amazon, I think it was about 40 quid. I'll probably use it again at some point, so probably worthwhile doing that. And that's us. So the plan is now to put that back on the car. Hopefully that shouldn't take us too long. It's just timing with work and things, but that's where we are. So let's carry on. So we're back at Raymies garage. We've got the drive shaft, we've got the hub and the new bearing in that. We're ready to put it back in again. So I'll just get started on that. I think I'll put the drive shaft in first, or attempt to put the drive shaft in first. Then we'll rebuild it from there and see how we go. So my plan today is to get the car back on the road, get it out, get it test drove. I haven't got apprentice Pat here today, he's doing other things. So I'm on my own and we're going to give it a go. Right, so this is where our drive shaft's going. I've got a good picture of that. It's going in here, and surprisingly there's no oil leaking out that, so I'm going to get down low and see if I can push that back in again. What we need to do is to get this wee clip pushed in and popped in. This is a kind of a dust shield, if you like, to stop any material getting in there, so that's got to go flush right into there. So I'm going to have a go at that. Right, let's check that that's in there. It's in, but I don't think it's in fully. Somebody's going to get a wee torch. Still a wee bit to go, I think. Put that in my head. Oh, felt that going in there. Yeah, I think that's it right in. So it is. So I shouldn't be able to pull that out now. There you go, so that's solid. Solid there. So that's the drive shaft in. I don't know if I can get a picture of it in there. So you can probably see the shield. That light's not very good. You can see the shield right in there. I've got a wee pal Spock helping us here somewhere. So that's in, that's all okay. I'll now try and see if I can mount the big knuckle. Let's try that again. Make sure I've got my bolt at the ready. And that needs to go up there. I think that's got to come right down there. If I could just hold that, and I've got a wee hammer just to pry that. Right, so I had a quick look at the video actually. I used my own video to make a reference, so that only goes up to that lug up there. You probably can't see that, so it just sits in there. We'll get it put back up again. We'll sit our bolt here, hopefully, and push that in. So it is going right the way up. It doesn't actually come through the bottom of that very much. Right, let's see if I can do it again. Right. That's about right, it comes to it there, so I'll just hold that when I'm tightening it up. This has got a nylon lock nut on it. And I'll get the torque specs for this soon. I just want to get it all on so I can manoeuvre it about. So I'm just trying to push that out my road. Yeah, that's alright. And once I've got that all back into its position, I'll maybe slacken that and just recheck that again. So I think what I want to do now is to try and see if we can get the actual drive shaft in. That allows me to move that up and down. The drive shaft was a wee bit tight, but it should go in. It should go in okay, and that allows us to get it a bit more stable to allow to bolt everything else together. So that was actually reasonably easy to put on. I haven't torqued that nut up yet. There I have, but tapping that was a good idea. And I seen me putting copper slip on that, or copper grease, just to let it slide in. So that's good. I'll get some of the other stuff bolted on there now, and we'll come back to it when we've got it done. So it's just a matter of putting the steering knuckle on that and these two arms. I'm going to just have a go at that now. We're back, and this is where we've got to. I'm just building the wee bits and pieces up here. So we've got the shaft on, still to be tightened and torqued to spec. We've got that on. We've got a new nut here for the steering knuckle. We've put the two lower arms on, they've still to be tightened up and torqued. We've taken that one off there, it's still to be tightened, so there are a number of bolts just need to be tightened and torqued up. And I think we're nearly there. What I will do now is I'll raise the car up to ride height, which I think's 47 centimetres. I've got it recorded somewhere, so I'm going to do that. And we've got all these tightened down, that one there, and I've got all the torque specs for that. So we'll get on to torquing it, and then we'll get the disc on, we'll get this on properly, and hopefully we can get it out and have a wee go at it. But I just want to make sure that I've got everything torqued to the right specification, and we'll go for there. So we're nearly there. I've got the wheel up to the required ride height specification, and all the bolts have been torqued, so I've been using a wee bit of paper to get all the torque specs. So just even to remind myself, that's torqued in there, that one's done, the two arms are done, the two bolts, one in there and one in there, they're done, and I think that's that, and that one, I've done that one. So I just need to nip out now. All I've got to do basically is put the disc on, get the caliper back on again, and go for a wee spin, and fingers crossed the wheel doesn't fall off or makes horrendous noises. But I'm going to get that done now, and I'll come back and then we'll see where we are. I've got the under tray on. I'm just about to put the splash shield on at the bottom here. Let's see, I just need to clip that together, and we'll get the wheel on, we'll get it lowered off, and the last thing we've got to do, remember, is to tighten up that nut we took off for the airbag to allow it to pressurise. So we'll get the wheel on, we'll lower it down, put the nut back on again, and we'll fire it up. I've got the under tray on. I'm just about to put the splash shield on at the bottom here. Let's see, I just need to clip that together, and we'll get the wheel on, we'll get it lowered off, and the last thing we've got to do, remember, is to tighten up that nut we took off for the airbag to allow it to pressurise. So we'll get the wheel on, we'll lower it down, put the nut back on again, and we'll fire it up. Right, so we're back together. I've got our wee nut tightened up here for our airbag. I'm going to start the engine and hopefully get the level sorted out. Well, the battery's a bit flat because it's been lying, so I'll go and get the wee jumper pack on it and we'll get it started. Right, let's try again. So that's it running. I think that corner's a wee bit low, so I'll adjust the gear and just put that there, and I'll get in and have a look at the wheels. So that's it looking at normal ride height, which is fine that side. It looks all okay, so obviously that's pumped its air back in there again. So let's get ourselves tidied up, get our tools put away, we've got manoeuvring out the wee yard, and we'll take it out for a test drive. Right, all packed away, no more tools, just a dog. And this is what we had left. Now, we replaced that bolt for the steering knuckle because we damaged it trying to get it off. Probably recommend you do that anyway. And we've got two wee bolts for this bracket. It sits on the kind of left side of the wheel when you're looking at it. That's the two wee nuts for it. I just haven't bent that back into position. And these are the two nuts we broke that we've done the heli coil on and replaced them. You see the knackered and a wee random screw, so that's all we've got left. We'll get this car out the road, get the Range Rover backed out, and we'll get in the car and go for a test drive. So I don't hear the noise so far. The car's driving alright, doesn't feel lumpy or bumpy. Normally I would have heard the noise by now. Good. Yeah, so that's all right. Let's drive along here. A wee bit of speed up. So yeah, that's good. Seems to be fine. It's driving okay. It's not pulling drastically, so I've got everything topped up. And I think that's us for this video, guys. It's been a bit of a trek to get that out. The wheel bearing that is in the shaft of a half shaft. So if you're going to try that, I would recommend you get access to a press. And you can buy them pretty cheap, to be fair, but if you can get somebody you know to help you, that'll certainly get that out. If the shaft's not stuck, that's fair enough. But you'll definitely need one, I think, to get the bearing out and get the bearing back in again. So fairly straightforward. We did do this over a period of time, just through what time we had available and what we were doing. So it's reasonably successful so far, and that's us. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers for now.